I think with the personnel we have healthy now, and it gives us a lot of flexibility.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Next question will come from Greg Allman.
Hey, Bruce, looking back on that first Panthers game in week 2, Anderson and Moore both went over 100 yards for Carolina. I just want to ask you, it seems like Carlton has still been able to play at a high level, but Dean and Murphy Bunting have had some struggles in the last 2 weeks with coverage. I just want to ask you why you think there's been any regression there at all for them.
Don't know if it's as much regression as they're getting targeted because they're not throwing at Carlton. He's playing out with all the interceptions and stuff. And I think both of them sometimes they're still growing, but I don't think there's any cause for concern with those two guys. And Antoine, each one of them, they keep going in their role.
Bruce, that first Carolina game was probably the best. I would think for you, the best execution of kind of the combination between Jones and Fournette, in terms of Ronald getting it done early and then Leonard obviously having a great fourth quarter. What would you say is the key thing you guys need to do to get back to that if you're in a position to have a lead again on Sunday?
Don't fall behind. Don't fall behind. That's the biggest thing. I think they both have had really good roles. And I think Rojo's in a really good spot right now. I think Leonard's and Shady. I think we're solid there, and I think the 1-2 punch is really back in full force.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
Next question will come from Jenna Lane.
Hey, Coach, I know you mentioned that in the past, Mike Evans should be getting 10 targets a game. And I was just wondering, from that game, from the tape that you saw, how much of that was him missing or being limited for about 3 weeks with the ankle, with practice time, and how much of that was just your quarterback not getting great protection and not being able to necessarily go through his progressions?
I think you answered both questions. I think both they're the answers to the question.
What can you guys do to get him more involved? Because I know you did move him around. He was in the slot. He was on the outside. But what other types of things can you do to get him involved and active early?
Just throw it to him. I mean, the key is where the quarterback reads it out. And some guy might be up on this side, but the coverage tells him go to the other side. So it's just a matter of we've got plenty of weapons and throw to the guy that's open.
Thanks, Coach.
Next question will come from Scott Reynolds, and then we'll open it up to Carolina media.
Hey, Bruce, you guys have given up over 100 yards rushing the last 2 games. Are you finding that the teams are attacking you more with 2 and 3 tight ends to take advantage of not having as much size as you did before with Vita Vea in the lineup?
I think it's more to keep us out of nickel because of, in base defense, you only can do so much. Nickel is you can get pretty exotic with them. And I think the 3 tight ends is something that tries to get you in base defense to throw the ball more than run it. I mean, Taysom Hill had, we just didn't stop the power play, but we stopped Kamara really well, but we didn't stop Taysom Hill. And, in the Giants, we got out of our gap twice and trying to do too much. But yeah, I'm not concerned with the running game right now. I think we'll bounce back pretty good against a really good, talented backfield.
And then when you look at the first quarter scoring, that was really a strength of your offense starting the season. You guys really jumped out on some teams. It's kind of gone the opposite way now. Have you been able to pinpoint over the last couple of weeks why you guys haven't had that advantage in the first quarter like you did in the first, say, 3 or 4 games of the season?
Third down conversions. We're not maintaining possession of the football long enough to start games right now.
Thank you, Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
Next question will come from David Newton.
Hey, Coach, I wonder what your impressions of Panthers rookie Jeremy Chin are and how his position flexibility figures into your game planning.
Yeah, it reminds me a ton of Deion Buchanan, playing the same basic position we had him playing in Arizona. And, having a hybrid player creates problems because of the number counts. And we got number 21 in there. He's a linebacker. Sometimes he's a safety. So you really have to be sharp with your identifications.
And I want to ask you also, where do you stand on giving running backs big contracts and why?
Depends on who they are. If I had Christian McCaffrey, I'd give him all I could, but each and every one of them is so different, how much they're involved in your offense. How many times do they actually touch the ball? And when you have a guy like Christian who's great receiver and a great runner, that's a huge part of your offense normally.
Next question will come from Joe Person.
Hey, Bruce, thanks for having us on. Wondered what you've seen out of the Joe Brady scheme. How similar is it to what you see the Saints doing, and just what do you think's made it effective to this point?
I think a lot of similarities. I think Teddy was able to adapt really quickly because he played in the offense, knew the terminology. There was a familiarity. So getting the rest of the guys up to speed, which looks like they've done pretty quickly because they're playing really, really well on offense right now.
And then also just wondered, when you saw the tape or with the Panthers after McCaffrey went out, how different was the scheme Brady was running as to opposed to when you saw them in week?
Well, I think, a little more power running because Davis is such a powerful runner, but he's also still a really good receiver. I think a lot of the same concepts. Samuel's doing a little bit more. He's in the backfield as you're running, he's catching. So they got dynamic players at the skill positions, and I think Joe's doing a heck of a job with them.
Next question will come from Kevin O'Donnell.
Hey, Bruce. Tom has been very good down the field, maybe one of the best quarterbacks in the league this year in throwing that deep ball. Obviously, it wasn't there against the Saints on Sunday. Looking back at the tape, was it more of the routes taking too long to develop, or was it just because he was more under duress? Which was a bigger factor, do you think?
I think the duress, and we put some up in the cover too that, that we were trying to fit in the holes, but Saints defense played well. We didn't play very well offensively, but the protection was the worst part.
And do you have a feel now of how you want to utilize Antonio Brown with the whole cast of characters you have at the wide receiver spot?
Yeah, I thought he had a good role last week. He played a little bit more than I'd hoped because of the score, but he has a nice role and he fits in quickly.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next question will come from Rick Stroud.
Bruce, kind of going back to the slow starts of late. I know you guys, obviously script a bunch of plays, and it, to not convert on third down, is it what's happening on first and second or not happening? You get behind the sticks a little bit there? Or?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, last week we opened up with a shot, didn't hit it, ran the ball, I think, for 6, and don't make a 3rd and 4. When you're playing a 3rd and 4, you should be winning 70% of the time. And your goal is always playing 3rd and 6 or less, very manageable. And we had way too many 3rd longs because of sacks, but not being able to run the football hurt in that ball game. And we've just missed a couple early 3rd down plays that normally we were hitting early and getting jump started and going,
Right. Thanks.
We have time for a couple more. Next, we'll go to Scott Reynolds.
Bruce, with this tropical storm / hurricane coming, is that going to do anything to affect your preparation for tomorrow's practice? I know you have the indoor facility, but is this going to mess with you guys at all?
Yeah, we're going to get out. We have to get out of the building by 5 o'clock, and we'll push everything back 4 or 5 hours tomorrow and work from the afternoon to the evening. But we'll get our work in.
Thank you, Bruce.
You bet.
And last question will come from Jenna Lane.
Coach, I know you said on Monday that you guys have to own this loss and you can't bury your heads in the sand. What was the attitude of the guys when they came back into the building for practice this week? What did you see out of them?
Yeah, 24-hour rule. That game's over. We got a heck of an opponent in Carolina. So you have money to lick your wounds, and Tuesday you get ready to start for the next one. And that's the beauty of coaches and players. We don't have to worry about the rest of. Everybody has to worry about it for a week.